All right, the moment so many of us have been waiting for, it's finally here. Proxmox VE9 has officially landed. And with it, you get that classic, maybe even timeless question that every single one of us, whether you're running a home lab or critical infrastructure, has to ask. What do I do now? So today, we're going to dive into what the early adopters are saying and build a real-world playbook to help you make that call.
You know, it's funny, but it's true. It's got that same new release energy. But instead of debating, camera specs, the Proxmox community is talking about something, well, let's just say it's a little more high stakes. Is it time to nuke your server and start totally fresh? Or are you the type to just cross your fingers, type apt dist upgrade, and see what happens? The stories from the community are all over the map, and that's exactly what we're here to unpack.
So this is it. This is the fundamental choice every user is facing right now. Are you going to go for that seamless InPlace upgrade, a squeaky clean, fresh installation? Or are you going to kick back, grab a coffee, and let everyone else find the bugs first? There's no single right answer, because the right answer really depends on you.
Okay, so before you even think about touching a single command, it's really worth figuring out your personal upgrade philosophy. Step one is just understanding, what kind of upgrader are you, really? Well, as it turns out, the community kind of neatly falls into three main camps. You've got the bleeding edge crowd, you've got the cautious operators, and then there are the wait-and-seers. Figuring out which of these groups you belong to is honestly the key to a stress-free upgrade. First up, the bleeding edge crowd. And you know who you are. You probably had the beta installed weeks ago. If something breaks, hey, no big deal, you just shrug and reinstall. For you, the whole point of a home lab is the fun of seeing what happens when you poke the bear. Stability? It's a nice to have, not a must-have. Then we have the cautious operators. These folks are the planners. You're the one reading the official release notes, top to bottom, bookmarking the upgrade guide, and you're probably thinking, maybe I'll just wait for the first point release, like 9.1. It's important to get this. These folks don't fear change. What they fear is downtime. And this quote, this just perfectly nails our third group, the wait-and-seers. You know the type. For them, Proxmox 8 is working just fine, thank you very much. It's stable, it does the job, and unless there's a killer, can't live without it new feature or a major security fix, they are happy to just stay put. It's that classic philosophy, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
All right, now that you've kind of figured out your philosophy, it's time to choose your method. And there are really two main paths to get your system to Proxmox 9.
So on one hand, you've got the InPlace upgrade. This is usually way quicker. We saw one user report they were done in literally 5 minutes, and for a lot of people, it's been surprisingly drama-free. But on the other hand, you have the clean install. Sure, it takes more time, but your reward is a totally pristine system with zero legacy junk hanging around. You gotta pick your poison. Okay, so we've covered the who you are and the how you'll do it. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. This is the practical playbook built from the hard-won wisdom of all those people who jumped in first. It really boils down to 4 key actions that define a smooth upgrade journey. First, pick your timing carefully. Second, know the common gotchas ahead of time. Third, and this is a big one, treat your backups as absolutely non-negotiable. And finally, number 4, test your process before you trust it on anything important.
So, let's talk about timing. It's crucial. Some admins are very deliberately waiting for version 9.1, just letting the early adopters find all the sharp edges for them. Smart. Others are planning their upgrade for, say, a long holiday weekend, giving themselves a nice big buffer to troubleshoot without any pressure. And of course, there are those who jumped in right away, but they did it on spare test hardware to make sure the process was solid first. Let's talk about those "man, I wish I'd known that" moments from the community. A few users rebooted and went straight to a BIOS screen. It's rare, but it's a very real reminder to have physical console access, just in case. GPU pass-through, while it's mostly working for people, is always a point of stress, And here's a simple but super important one. Forgetting to update your apt sources. That can cause a world of weird headaches. Remember, apt modernized sources is your friend here.
Okay, this brings us to what might be the most critical point of all. We all know backups aren't optional, right? We say it all the time. But listen to this story. It takes the idea to a whole other level. One admin Get this, physically pulled one of the drives from their ZFS mirror before starting the upgrade. Just popped it right out. Why? So they had a perfect instantaneous rollback plan. If anything went wrong, they could just swap the old drive back in. I mean, wow, that's commitment. Their confidence wasn't just in Proxmox, it was in their own plan to recover no matter what.
And that brings us to the final step in the playbook. Test before you trust. For those of you lucky enough to have a cluster, live migration is your best friend. You can move all your VMs and containers to a safe node, upgrade the now empty one, and then just migrate everything back. And if you're on a single node, a spare machine, even a small one with just a single test VM, is the perfect way to do a dry run of the whole process. So, after all the planning, all the backups, all the testing, what's the early verdict from the community? Was it total chaos? Was it a glorious triumph? What actually happened?
The reality is surprisingly calm. For the vast, vast majority of people who actually prepared properly, the Proxmox 9 upgrade has been almost boring. And let's be honest, in the world of server administration, boring is beautiful. The whole process has matured to a point where a successful upgrade is now the expectation, not the exception.
So in the end, your path forward really depends on your profile. If you love stability more than anything else, just wait for 9.1. No shame in that. If you've got rock-solid backups and a way to test things out, then yeah, go ahead and make the jump. And hey, if you're perfectly happy with your Proxmox 8 setup, just keep enjoying it. Nobody's judging you. Well, except maybe the bleeding edge crowd, but they're probably too busy reinstalling something to even notice.
And that brings us to the end. We've walked through the philosophy, the methods, and the real practical steps built from the experiences of the community. So now, the only question left is the one that only you can answer. Which path will you choose? Thanks for joining us.